This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, we'll continue now. Okay, so here in this session now we'll discuss about how to take an image and also how to create web servers and other things. Okay, let me log into the VM here. I'll go to the server manager. Okay, I'm just going to add some roles into the server here. Okay, so for example, if I want to install the server as an app server or a web server, I can go and configure that. So for example, if I want to promote the server to a domain controller or a DHCP server or a web server, I can go and select the specific role. I'll show you how to install the web server here. Okay, once after I install it, I'll also show you how to take an image of the server and then how to create a new server out of the image. Okay, in general, in all the working environment, they will not be creating 100 servers or 100 web server one by one. Instead, they will be creating a centralized image or a template, and using that image or template, they will be deploying multiple systems. So whatever hardening or whatever patches or whatever that they want to install on the system, they will go and install all the application. They will install all the configuration settings, and then they will take an image, and from that image they will create a new system. Okay, we'll see that step-by-step procedure now. So in AWS, they call this particular procedure as Amazon Machine Image Creation. So they call it as AMI. So AMI stands for Amazon Machine Image. So why we need to create an image? So in general, if you want to create multiple server with the same content configuration settings and same identical application tools, so we can directly go and create a server, and then on that instance, you configure all the required settings and then install the tools, application, so on. And then once after you do that, you can create an image out of this new server, and then you can create more instances, more identical instances using that particular image. So what is the advantage of doing this? So you can save a lot of time in doing the repetitive tasks, or in doing continuously doing the same thing again and again. And also you can do hardening, standardization, everything on the image that you have created, so that you have consistency. Okay, you will have common standard in all the server. Okay, so let's see. So I've installed a IAS server on this machine. Now, after I install IAS on Windows, I think some of you might know that it will create a separate folder on the C drive. So here you will see that there is a folder called inetpub. This is the folder where all the IAS related contents will be stored. So here you can just go and create your own file, or you can just modify the home page. So I'll just call this particular home page as, maybe I'll just say precision. Okay, and you can just save this, so that you can understand that this page is coming from the server that you created. Okay, let me close this. Okay, now if I use the public IP, which is here, to access it from the internet, do you think will it be accessible? By default, the web page will not be accessible, because by default all the ports, incoming ports to any of the systems, will not be allowed by default. Okay, so we need to kind of allow the specific port on that particular server. See, if I go and use this IP address to access the server, it will not open up. The reason it is not opening up, by default in AWS, for all the server, we have something called security group. Okay, security group is nothing but an instance level firewall or virtual machine level firewall. Okay, this will prevent access to your virtual machine from outside public internet. So AWS security group is instance level firewall. This will protect or prevent your machine from being accessed on a specific port or network. Okay, so I'll show you where exactly the settings will be. So if I go to the specific instance, you have a column called security. And if you look at here, okay, let's see, one second. So you have two security groups. The reason we have two security groups here, because you have two network interface card. So you can have one security group for both the interfaces, or you can have two different network interfaces. But here I'm just going to modify the default network interface security group. Here inbound, it has currently allowed only, oh, okay, so it has got all the traffic allowed, and also it has all the traffic allowed from this specific IP alone. But if I want to allow the traffic from all the different machine, then I need to add a rule, and I have to select, I want to allow HTTP access from all the machine. Okay, HTTP is the default web port, right? 80 port. I'm allowing 80 port from, I'll select anywhere here. Okay, and then I'll just save the rules. Okay, now I can just go and refresh the screen. Now it should come up with the web page that we have created. So we have allowed the 80 port on this particular IP, and okay, so it is clearly giving an error earlier that it is unreachable earlier. Let's wait for the security groups rule to get saved. Okay, it has got saved now. Even you can also change the inbound rules. So here, just save this. Okay, it will take 1 or 2 minutes to get updated. So security group is instance level firewall. For each and every virtual machine, we have a security group that will prevent the inbound and outbound traffic. If you look at the configuration here, by default, all the outbound traffic is allowed by default. So all the traffics in AWS is allowed by default. From the machine, you can access the internet, you can access any web page, or you can access any application outside of that particular machine. By default, all outbound rules are allowed. Outbound traffic is allowed, but by default all inbound traffic is restricted. So you have to allow specifically, we have to explicitly allow the traffic on the port that is needed. Okay, now I have allowed the 80 port. Let's go and check that. Now I'll go and refresh it again. Okay, let's see. Let me try to check that in the local machine here. Okay, it is working on the local machine. So it is not working from here. Let's see why it is not working. Okay, let me go to the instance. Let me go to networking. Then go to this particular VPC. Okay, this is the network interface that we are working on. We'll go and check this network interface where it is attached to. Okay, this network interface is attached to this security group, but I think we checked the wrong security group. So we have to go to this security group and update the inbound rule. Okay, see, that is the problem. So here the traffic is not allowed for HTTP, only RDP traffic is allowed. So we are checking the wrong security group. So always go to the respective network interface and update the security group that you need to modify. Okay, now I'm going to update the security group here. So I'll go and add the HTTP traffic on this machine from anywhere in the internet. Now I'm saving it. So last time we updated the wrong security group. So you have to always go and check the network interface card and the security group which is attached to that particular network card. Now I'll go and refresh it here. See, it is opening up now. Okay, so we have to go and check the specific network card, and then you have to find out what is the security group that is attached to it, and then fix the issue. Okay, so we are able to access the Windows web server. Similarly, if you want to do the same in the Linux machine, you can do the same. Okay, there are multiple ways to do that. Okay, I'll show you first method now. Okay, if I go to okay, let's do one thing. So let me log into this VM. Okay, in Linux we have to install the package httpd. Okay, for web package. Okay, once after you install, you can just go to a specific path and configure the web page. So I have to go to var www HTML folder. Here is where you get the default home page. I'll create a default home page now. Okay, index.html. I'll just write something here. Welcome to. Okay, now I'll go and restart the service. Okay, so now I'll try to access this web page. Similarly, if I access it now, it will not turn up anything because we have not allowed the web page. So we have to go to the security group of that particular network interface, and we have to fix that. We have to allow the 80 port. We have to go to the network interface here, and on the network interface, we have to find out which security group it is attached to. Okay, so this is the security group. So here you have to go and allow the inbound port 80 rule. Add the rule. You have to select the 80. So if you select the HTTP, automatically the port number will be 80 changed here. Okay, you can allow it from anywhere and save it. Now if I go and refresh it here, it should come with the welcome to Advantage Pro. See, I'm getting the web page. So this is how you can create a web server in Linux. Okay, so you can actually save a lot of time by doing something called bootstrapping. I'll show you the steps here. See, when you go and install the virtual machine, okay, when I go and create a new VM, so under the new VM, I'll just say Linux web server 2. So at the bottom, I can also allow the select the key pair now. Okay, September 2022, and I can reuse the key. So here I can select the existing security group, which I've already allowed the 80 traffic. Okay, I think on launch wizard 12, I allowed the 80 traffic. I can select the same. So if you are creating multiple security groups, then it will over complicate the management. So instead you can reuse the existing security group. Okay, so here under the advanced detail, this is where you go and do a little more additional advanced thing. For example, if I want to do some bootstrapping, I can use the user data here. So while the machine is getting created, I can also go and add these lines. So it will update the machine, it will install the HTTPD package, and it will add this line item to the var www.html. Whatever I did it, so it will do it along with the machine boot up. So let me copy this, I'll paste it. And now I'm going to create the machine along with bootstrapping. Bootstrapping is nothing but invoking some more commands while the machine is getting created. Okay, so that is what we call it as bootstrapping. We are strapping additional activities while the machine is booting, along with machine boot or along with the instance start. Yeah, they call it as metadata or instance metadata. Okay, so here let me, okay, so even you have the option to go and select the specific data center you want to install. So if I go here, I can go and select which data center I want to use, whether I want to install it in 1E data center or 1B data center, 1A data center. I can select specific data center if I want to do that. Okay, now I can just go and start it, launch the instance. Okay, the instance is getting launched. Okay, let the instance get launched. It will take 1 or 2 minutes. Meanwhile, I'll just detach the unwanted volumes. I'll detach it, delete it. I'll also clean up the snapshot, which is unwanted. Okay, so these things are costly. These things are chargeable. Okay, so you have to delete the unwanted snapshot, delete the unwanted volume so that you can avoid any unnecessary cost. Okay, now you can go and delete the unwanted volume also. Okay, so whenever you are practicing in AWS, you have to be careful here. So aws.amazon.com/free. If you go to this link, you can find out how much you are eligible to do free activities. For example, if you are creating storage, you can create up to 5 GB of space on Amazon S3. Similarly, in Amazon EC2, you can have 750 hours of Linux RHEL server for every month. So which means, for example, you are running 10 server, each server can run for 75 hours free of cost. Similarly, if you are creating Amazon RDS, you can run it for 750 hours. Similarly, if I scroll down, there are a lot of compute storage related free categories, okay, which have to be very careful. See, Amazon Elastic Block Store, you can store only up to 30 GB free of cost. Anything above 30 GB that you are storing, you have to pay for it. Okay, so you have to be always thinking about the free tier category. Okay, so these are services which are free for 12 months. Okay, you can use up to 1 TB of Amazon Cloud Front, 5 GB of EFS, and all these things. These are all free tier eligible, and it is free for 12 months actually. So there are certain services which are always free also. See, for example, if I go and select this always free category, these services are always free. Okay, these are all always free category. So if you want to practice on the services, you can go and filter down which services are free trial, which services are free for 12 months, and which ones are always free, so that you can practice accordingly. Okay, now going back to the EC2 instances. So the third VM should have got created now. Okay, it is available now. It is initializing, but still I can just go and copy the VM IP and then check whether it is already working. Yeah, it is already working. Okay, so welcome to Advantage Pro Apache Web Server. So you can also do all these things while the machine is getting booted up. So we call this as metadata. Okay, so metadata is very useful information that you can use for accessing all the information. Okay, so this is one thing. I can also go and check the status here. Say if I go to actions, if I go to manage instance state, I can just check what is the current status, and I can also change the state of the system. Similarly, I've got some more options here. Okay, you can go and view the details. You can get to know all the different details of that machine. Okay, here you can also go and change the bootstrapping data by clicking on this edit user data. You can also go and change this particular thing. Okay, this is what we gave when the machine was booted up, right? You can also go and change it at a later time also. You go to actions. So you can create an image, you can create a template from that machine. I'll show you how to do that now. Okay, so if there is any issues with the EC2 instance, if you are not able to see what is happening, you can go and check the system log here. Get system log. It will give you details on what is happening when the machine is booting, what is currently going on the system. You can also go and check whether the cloud init which we gave, the bootstrapping is called cloud init, whether it finished or whether it did not finish. You can also go and check those details here. So it will give all the detailed logs. Okay, when the machine was booted, whether it installed the HTTP package, whether it started the service, whatever command you gave, right? So all those things are happening here. You can see that. So you can see that HTTPD got installed, and even the services got started. So you can see all these activities successfully happened. Okay, you can go and check that under the system log in the AWS EC2 console itself. So bootstrapping is also called as cloud init or user data. So all these are same. Okay, so now if I go back here, you can also download the log. You can also copy the log to your machine. If you are creating any case with AWS, they might ask for the system log. You can also download this log and upload to them, or you can send it in an attachment to AWS. Okay, now here I'll show a few more things. Under the actions, under the monitor and troubleshoot, you also have the get instance screenshot. So currently it will give you the actual current screenshot of how the machine is currently there. Okay, sometimes you might have to there will be a blue screen, or there will be some kind of error on the home screen of the machine. So it will show you what exact status the machine is currently in. You can get the screenshot of the machine status also. You can also download that, and you can send it to Amazon again. Okay, there are a lot of beautiful options that are available in the screen itself. Currently, the monitoring that we have enabled is the basic monitoring. So basic monitoring will cover CPU, network, and all these things, but it will not cover the memory monitoring. So if you want to manage the memory monitoring, then you have to enable the detailed monitoring. By default, the basic monitoring is enabled. The detailed monitoring, if you're enabling, it is additional cost. If you want to monitor the usage of memory, virtual memory, and so on, then you need to go and enable the detailed monitoring also here. Okay, so now let's do one thing. So there is a specific IP called 169.254.169.254. This is the IP address of metadata. So if I want to access any information of the AWS related from within the operating system, I can also do that. If I use this IP on all the machine, it will get me the metadata, user data, all the details that you have configured on the EC2 instance level on the AWS console. So if I want to look at the current user data, I can also, okay, let me just to do one thing. I'll just uncheck this. Okay, I'll turn off the IE enhanced security. Sometimes this will be blocking all the report. So here I'll go for the metadata now. So under the metadata, you can get all the details. Okay, so sometimes you might also need to understand which security group this machine is part of, what is the public IP, what is the instance ID. So all these details can be accessed from within the OS itself. You don't have to have access to AWS console. So now I can get the public IP. See, this is the public IP of my machine. So I can get that. And similarly, I can get all the details of AWS related console from within the OS itself using this IP 169.254, 169.254. This IP is common for all the servers. Okay, So whatever details that you are seeing here, like the public IP, private IP, the instance state, all these details can also be accessed from within the OS also. So similarly, I'll show you on the Linux also. If I go to the Linux machine, if I use the curl command and paste this particular link, okay, so this will give me all the metadata. See, I can get all the data in Linux machine also. I can go and get the specific profile or a specific host name or whatever the events that are going on. All the information I can get it from here. Okay, so this IP is special IP, which is used for getting all the metadata from the machine. So all the AWS related data, you can get it from within the operating system also. Okay, let me reshare my screen just a second. So user data is used for bootstrapping. Metadata is for getting all the properties of the machine from OS within the OS itself. Okay, just a second, I'll share my screen again. Okay, so let's see how to create an image now. Okay, so we have installed this particular web page on this machine, and I've got a machine now. See, if I want to create an image, I can go and select that specific server. Okay, I can go to actions and I can go to image and I can create an image like this. Okay, so since this is having 30 GB, it will take some time. Maybe what I will do is I'll show you how to create an image on Linux, because it will be very quick. Okay, I'll go to actions, I'll go to image, and I'll create the image here. So I'll call this as Linux web server image. Okay, I can just, for identification purpose, I'm giving my name, stan-linux web server image. I can just add as much as description possible. I can say this image as HTTPD package and web server content and best practice configuration. You can type as much as information, because whoever is going to use this image, they will know what exactly is present in this image, what kind of purpose it is created for, and all those things. I can just go and create the image now. So from this image, if I go and create a new machine, it will have all the settings that was there in that particular operating system. The packages that we install, the web page, everything will be there. So when the image is happening, when the image is getting created, so on the back end, it will go and create a snapshot. If you look at here, we just created an image, but then on the back end, there will be a snapshot that will be taken, and from that snapshot, the image will be created. So it will take some time. Okay, so let's wait for that. See, if you want to do the same on Windows machine, then there is one additional step that you need to do. So you have to go and type sysprep. Okay, sysprep is a tool that is used for preparing your system before taking an image. So this machine, this system preparation tool, it will remove all the unique settings from the server. Okay, it will remove the IP address, it will remove the MAC address, it will remove all the unique settings, because like if you are creating an image, you will be creating more servers from that image. And if there is a conflict on the IP address, MAC address, or the specific ID, then there will be a conflict in the network. In order to avoid that, you can go and do the sysprep and take the image, so that this tool will remove all the unique settings from the machine, and the image will have only the unique configuration settings. There won't be any conflict. Okay, now let's refresh here. Let's see whether the snapshots is started. You can also go and check it under the AMIs. See, it is creating an image now. Okay, stan Linux web server image. You can also go and check the status. It is still pending. Okay, it will take maybe 3 or 4 minutes to get the image created. Okay, once the image is created, we'll create a server from this image. Okay, by doing this, you can save a lot of time. So you don't have to go and do the complete installation, update, installing the package, configuring the server. So you don't have to do it. So you can create identical machine now. I mean, whatever number of machine you want, you can go and create 10 machines or 100 machines at within 5-10 minutes. Okay, that is the advantage of creating an image. And also there is a beautiful option. If you ask me like whether you can go and create an instance without creating an image, yes, we can do that. See, if I go to this server and if I want to launch more instances like the same, you can launch instance from template. Or else you can also do one more thing, go to actions, and here you can say launch more like this. So which means you can go and create another server like how the server is there. So it will create a template and it will create a server from that particular system. So it is like cloning a machine. You can, if you say launch more instance like this, it will go and create machine with the same exact image. So you can see that it is selected all the different things and it will create one more server like this existing server. So if you want to clone this server, you can just say actions, templates, launch more like this. This is cloning. But this option which we saw is creating an image, and from that image you have to go and create one more new server. There are multiple options of creating identical servers or new servers. Okay, let's see whether the image has already got created. Okay, it's still pending. Maybe it will take 2 to 5 minutes for creating the image. Okay, while the image is getting created, I'll also share one more important information. So whenever you are creating any resource in cloud or AWS, you have to go and add as much as tags as much as possible. So tagging is very, very important. See, for example, whatever tag we have added, all these are listed here. And if I go to the instance, even for specific instance, you can go and add specific tag. For example, here it is, okay, on the last column, you can see that I've just added the name. So for billing purpose, for backup, for any activity in AWS, you can go, you need to have proper tagging. See, for example, everyone will wear a tag, right? So why they are wearing a tag? To show that they are different from others. So to identification, for easier understanding, easier identification, we are adding tag. So we can just add this. So this particular server is having application XYZ. This is the server role is web server. You can add as much as tags as you want. Okay, web server, and we can add this particular server belong to finance department. You can add up to 50 tags. See, you can see that it has option for 46 more tags because we have already added 4 tags. A total of 50 tags can be added. So the values here are case sensitive. So key whatever you are adding is not case sensitive. So you can go and save it. So you can add as much as tag as you want to identify the system. For example, if you are creating something for a specific department and you want to have the cost ID mentioned here, you can just mention the cost ID here, so that end of the month the bill for this particular system will be charged to this department and this cost identifier, so that the internal cross charging can happen. So tagging is very, very important. So the more you tag, the easier for identification. So for example, um, so the basic purpose of tag is for identification, but it has got more advantages also. Okay, let me explain that. So tag is for identification. Okay, so you can add up to 50 tags per resource. So it will be always in key value pair. Okay, the key can be anything. Okay, you can it can be a name, or it can be department, it can be application name, it can be a server role. Okay, it can be location. You can add as much as data, and you can add web server 1, department is HR, application name is HR application 1, server role is app server. You can add those details here. So when you add all these tagging information, it is easier to maintain the system, or it is useful for better governance, better management. So I'll give some example now on how you can manage it. If, for example, if I add a tag here stating that this particular server belong to production environment, and there is another server that belong to development or QA environment. So when you go and do patching, or when you want to do some backup, or when you want to do some monitoring or billing, you can easily identify. So if I just say the patching should only do the patching of the server with environment as production. So it will go and filter all the server with that particular tag, and it will only patch those systems. So it will simplify your work. If you do more tagging, you can use it from all the operational activities, whether you are monitoring it or taking backup. You can go and easily filter them, and you can use those tags when you do the actual activity. So for example, if you want to create a group for development monitoring group, so in this group you can just add one line item, add all the server which has got environment as development. It will add all the servers with environment as development into this group, and it will only monitor those systems. So it is very useful and powerful. So it is mainly for better governance, better management, and better administration. So you can simplify a lot of work here. Okay, let's go and check whether the image is now created. Okay, now the image is available. You can also go and check where exactly the snapshot is stored. If I go to the snapshot, it will also have a snapshot also now. See, it has been created by this particular create image process, and you can also see the name here. This is the snapshot for this particular AMI. So on the back end, the AMI is nothing but a snapshot on the back end. On the back end, it is a snapshot. You can also check where exactly it is stored currently. It is stored on standard tier now, and you can also go and change it or move it to low cost tier if you want. You can also archive the snapshot. So archiving the snapshot will save a lot of cost for you. So archiving means it is used for long-term storage. It is for longer duration. You can save a lot of cost here. Okay, so now I'll go and create a new VM from the image. Okay, so I've got an AMI here, and from this AMI I can just go to actions, and I can go and deregister the AMI, or I can just go and request a new instance, or here I can just select launch instance from this AMI. So it will automatically take me to this page, and here I can just say Linux web server 02, and then I can select the key pair. Also, I can just select the existing security group. See, if I look at the advanced option here, the user data might be there already. Okay, if it is not there, you can also go and get that added. Okay, let me launch the instance now. So from the image, I am launching the instance. Okay, so it is creating a new server. Okay, it is in pending state. So after a few minutes, after maybe 3 to 4 minutes, you can see a new server which was created from the image here. So this way you can go and save a lot of time by creating an image and creating a server out of it. Okay, so these are all very important topics which you need to be very clear about. Okay, so now let's do one thing. Let's go and look at some sample questions. Okay, so when you want to manage your EC2 instance, what is the metadata that you can use? Whether you can go and add nodes or wildcard or certificate or tags, which one will be the best option to manage your instances better? So tag is the right answer, right? Tags are the better way of managing the instances. Okay, which of the following provide the lowest cost EBS option? So generally, okay, so SSD are high cost. So provisioned IOPS is SSD category. General IOPS is SSD category. So throughput optimized and cold, these two are HDD category. So options 3 and 4, answer C is the right answer. Whenever they are asking for lowest cost, you should go and choose the HDD option, hard disk option. So these two are solid state drive, premium performance option. So always these two are the low cost options. Okay, you need to know the private IP and public IP of your EC2 instance. How you can get that? So the easier option to get that is from the instance metadata, right? You can go and say 169.254, 169.254 slash latest slash metadata. From this option, you can, oh, no. So this is the wrong answer because it is saying user data. User data is used for bootstrapping. It is used for cloud init. So we need to get it from instance metadata. Okay, so this is the right answer. Answer A is the right answer. Okay, you can also create the snapshot from the command line. I'll explain that little later. Okay, to retrieve the instance metadata or user data, which command you will use, which IP you will use. So loopback will not use, you will not use 10, you will not use this IP. This is the right answer. 169.254, 169.254. This is the IP address which is used for retrieving all the metadata and user data from the system. Okay, so this is another interesting question. Can you attach an EBS volume to more than one EC2 instance at the same time? You cannot do that. See, for example, I'll show you that. So let me show you this volume. See, currently this volume, right? This 30 GB volume, it is already in use actually. It is already attached. If I go to the option actions, the attach option will be disabled because you cannot attach the same volume to multiple EBS EC2 instances at the same time. Okay, so one EBS volume can be attached to one EC2 instance at the same time. If you want to attach it, you have to detach it from the existing instance and you have to attach it. So there is another option called multi-volume EBS. So that can be done, but that is a different option, which I will explain later. But for this exam question, maybe like for this interview question, you cannot attach the EBS volume to more than one EC2 instance at the same time. So the answer is, can you attach? No, answer is B. Okay, they are asking me what are the different ways of making an EC2 instance available to the public. So there are two options. You can either create a VM in the public subnet, or you can allocate that load balancer to the public. So these are the two options. Options A and option B are the right options. Okay, let's see if there are any other questions which we can cover now. Okay, so what are the two hypervisors that are used for EC2? So by default, they are using Zen hypervisor. That is the customized Zen that is default, but you can also use the Nitro hypervisor. So these are the two options that can use. Even Amazon supports ESX, but the default options are the two underlying hypervisor are AWS native Nitro hypervisor and Zen hypervisor. So answer 2 and 4, which means answer is D. Okay, so next question is Amazon EBS volumes are what? So is it object storage or block storage or not suitable for database? Answer is it is block based storage, elastic block store, right? The name itself, it is elastic block store. So it is block based storage. So next they are asking, if an EBS volume is an additional partition that is not the root volume, can I detach it without stopping the instance? Yes, you can. It will become detached immediately. So we saw that practically, right? We saw how to detach the hard disk without taking the downtime, without stopping the instance. You can go and detach the EBS volume. So yes, it is possible. So individual VM, when you go and create an individual VM, individual instances are provisioned in a specific region, or you can also specific availability zone also, you can go and provision it. Okay, so the answer is availability zone. Individual instances are provisioned in separate data center. AZ means availability zones. Okay, let's see if there is any other question. So yesterday there was a question from you, right? EBS snapshots are backed up to S3 in what manner? It is an incremental backup. So incremental backup means it will not have, if you're taking snapshot 1 and snapshot 2, the first snapshot will have the full content. The subsequent snapshot will be always increment, because like to save the space and cost, subsequent snapshot will be incremental, which means whatever has been changed from the first snapshot, it will only cover the incremental data, so that the cost is saved from that. Okay, it will not have full snapshot on every time. Okay, if it is taking full snapshot every time, then it will have lot of capacity wastage. So it will have only incremental snapshot on subsequent. So next question is, if you terminate an EC2 instance, would that EBS root volume persist? Okay, answer is yes. Only if your EC2 in EBS is like instance store is temporary, but EBS root volume, it will persist. Oh, okay, it is saying if you terminate an EC2 instance, let's go and try that. So I'm going to terminate a EC2 instance. Let's see what happens. So I'll go and terminate all the EC2 instance now. Okay, I'll just leave the last one alone because it has got created from the image. Okay, let me terminate. See, this is asking me whether I want to release the elastic IP. That is fine, we can release that. Okay, so it says on an EBS backed instance, the default action for the root volume to be deleted when the instance is terminated. That means the default action for the root EBS volume, it will get deleted. Okay, so any data on the EBS volume, it will get lost. So let's see, let's go and refresh it. Okay, let's go and check the volume also. So volume also should get started deleted now. So let's refresh. So this should change to deleting if that is the case. Okay, let's give it a minute. So answer should be yes then in that case. So it is no, it will not persist. See, it deleted all the volume. When it terminated the instances, it deleted all the volumes. So here the answer is, if you terminate the instance, would that EBS root persist? No, it will not persist. Even the EBS volume will be deleted. You can change it actually, yeah. Okay, anyways, I think for now, these are the questions just for refreshment. Okay, you can try to create a image. You can try to modify the security group. You can try and create some web server and try to access it. So these are the things that you can practice. So after the lunch break, we'll start discussing network related information. Okay, I'll stop the recording.